Hey guys, we are on day one of CEDIA 2022. We are kicking it off with Perlisten. I've got my good friend here, Lars. Lars, thanks so much for inviting us to your booth to talk about the incredible products that Perlisten has to offer, both for home theater as well as 2-channel. So Lars, kind of tell us what you brought to CEDIA.
Thanks Michael. Thanks for being here. We're live, Dallas. It's the first day, as you said, and we are pumped with excitement. We have some new stuff for the audience. We are also introducing in the US our Become a Perlistener, which is kind of a culture where we want to interact with the consumers, with the dealers. So it's not just another speaker brand. And I think that's important because, you know, when we came to market, everybody says, hey, why another speaker brand, right? And I like to say there's 300 speaker brands out there, and we are 301. And we are here because we have a story to tell. And that's why we're here. That's why we're doing things a little bit differently.
Yeah. So speaking of story, I mean, we've got this new messaging, Become a Perlistener. Maybe walk us through and share with my audience, what does that even mean?
What we really want to do is we want to stay connected and interact with our customers. And I have here our newspaper, the CEDIA newspaper, where we, for example, are introducing a competition. So you can actually win some of our brand new Inwall speakers. But if you work with us, so you need to go online, talk about your movie experience like you have done, and then interact with the brand so we can communicate and learn how people are using our product. It's not rocket science, but it's kind of a little bit of stay connected with people.
Super cool. So you've got some awesome products. Maybe let's walk through some of those and tell us what you brought to the show. I'm going to walk around this way.
I think I would like just to pause a little bit about on our banner. So we begun our journey 18 months ago, and within 18 months we have nailed a lot of nice awards. And if I should pause, I would like to pause on the ISA award, where we both, from a subwoofer point of view, which we have over here, which is our D212s double 12-inch powered subwoofer. It is a prototype, so there will be some color issues there, but this has won the ISA award, the Big Brother, double 15-inch. We also won an ISA award for our S series. So if we just walk a little bit out here, we have our S7, which is the highlight of our product range.
And these are gorgeous, by the way.
This is the high gloss ebony.
Yes.
And it's kind of our best-selling finish right now. So we sell more of this than a regular black. But this was the benchmark for submitting for the ISA award. And what typically happens is you will, like the D215 gets the product of the year, and S7t would be the candidate. But ISA actually decided that the concept of S-Series is that strong that they actually awarded the whole S-Series product range product of the year, which is the first time for ISA ever to do that.
So Lars, did you save any awards for any other brands out there?
Well, we are not greedy, right? But we wanted to tell the story, and you know, it doesn't come for free. So we have been very active, you know, with online medias, the written press, to be with them and support them, and they have supported us with a lot of good acknowledgement.
Yeah. And Lars, we talked about a lot of your technology. So we've got 2 videos on the channel. We've got one where we talked about just the technology and what went into those, and we'll probably speak with some of your other reps like Eric and dive into that even in some of this video here. But this is more than just a pretty cabinet. There's a ton of technology, a ton of research, a ton of R&D to make this, and you've got some patent stuff that's different than what you see on traditional speakers. And so I'll definitely link that video down in the description, because we went into detail on what each one of these drivers and why they're so unique and what makes them special. But you've got some incredible speakers. So you got big towers, we got small speakers, we got a little bit of everything here.
We have a lot. I mean, we come to market, and that's also part of our story. We didn't just come with one speaker developed by Dr. Something.
Yeah.
This is actually a lineup. It's 2 complete range. It's more than 25 models at one go.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things going on there, also to show that we are serious. But I also would like to say that, for example, there's a lot of technology. My partner, Eric, will join and talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But for example, all our products are THX certified. So we went for the highest rating within THX, which is THX Dominus. So we have THX Dominus for all our S-series product, and we are the first one in the world to kind of achieve that bar.
Yeah, sure.
So that's also part of our story.
Sure.
And that talks for serious home theater. It talks for high SPL.
Yeah.
It talks for ultra controlled distortion. And we've nailed that.
Yeah, and you have. And the interesting thing is I had never even heard of Dominus. I mean, I had known about the Select and the different levels, and THX is a great standard, but you guys came out of the gate partly because you're a new company. You're the new guy stepping into the scene, and so you wanted to make a big impression and a big statement like, look, we have met the standards, we have met the measurements, and so we can back up what we say our speakers can do with data. And so I think that's super, super impressive.
Exactly. So now we've shown a little bit of our top model, the S7t. It's a full range. It consists of 2 floor standard. There's a little brother. If we just move over here, we have a very nice bookshelf on our own designed stand, and you can see there's a clear family look.
Yeah.
Same drivers, same technology. I like to say true voice matching between any products we make.
So you can mix match these in pretty much any configuration, towers,
yes,
smaller speakers. You've even got some big boys that I like.
Yeah.
The monitor series, those are awesome.
Exactly.
And then we've got some cool Inwalls as well.
We have the monitor series at display in our house downtown. So we've rented a little villa where we will showcase and we will demonstrate the S5M together with one of our new subs, which we will do in the evenings.
Nice, super cool.
So I think before we go into the technical stuff, I want to walk over here to the highlight of the show, which is our new Inwall speakers. So we are coming out with actually 8 new Inwalls. So we have dedicated left-right, we have dedicated center channels, we have Inwalls for each series, one for the top, which is the S series, and one for the R series.
And your R series is pretty new.
The R series is pretty new.
So that's for the the more affordable line for guys like me that want a Youthman deal, right?
Well, there's different ways to say it, but you know, we like to say that you get probably 80 to 85% of the performance of an S series at a probably half the price point of an S series. So I think we should probably dive into what's inside our products and introduce Eric so he can talk about the designs and all the technology.
So Michael, last time we saw each other, you were at our facility and you saw the prototypes of our Inwalls.
Yes.
And finally they're here. So these are arriving here in about a month. Same great technology that makes our loudspeakers great. There's no deviation for what we stand for, what we do there. Flat frequency response, off-axis power response, all those key metrics that we really talked about that makes a world-class speaker is in Inwall. And so there is literally no other loss in performance other than having a smaller back box, you lose the low frequency content.
Gotcha.
But as an Inwall in the home theater, there's always a subwoofer to blend in and add in that situation.
Sure.
So that's the only compromise that we're making here.
And honestly, I like how you share that this has a ton of performance in it, because honestly, from a consumer's perspective, a lot of times we think of Inwalls as a sacrifice. I'm going to be losing quality. I'm not going to get great sound.
Yep.
So you've made some really, really great strides to make sure that this is top performing, as well as just something that is beautiful and finishes well in a home.
Yeah, and that's exactly, and Inwall is actually one of the best acoustically metrics that you can put a speaker in.
Gotcha.
It's a large flat baffle, no reflections. When we deal and create a loudspeaker, we're dealing with all those issues, so you don't actually see that in the response, but those are things that we have to change and make correct and make sure there's no diffraction off the edges and all that kind of thing. Putting them in a flat wall is beautiful.
So that's a good thing.
Now,
okay.
most manufacturers sacrifice that performance because they like it's just an Inwall speaker, they're just using it for background sound. This is not the intent.
Gotcha.
This is the intent of the same output capabilities, THX Dominus for all of them. So that's an output requirement per very low THD spec, 3% in second and third harmonics at 117 dB for the S series. So that's just, you know, a huge amount of low distortion output that is enabled in these products. And that follows through the lines. So we have the S7 Flagship, so just like the S7t Towers, that comes in a center channel like this does. It also comes in a vertical LR.
Okay. So they can do it horizontal or vertical.
You can do it horizontal or vertical. If you got a transparent screen, it's recommended to just do 3 LRs because that's going to be really the best performance.
Sure.
A lot of situations you have to sacrifice that. It's a TV per se, and you want a center channel, it has to be horizontal. So you have that option like the center here.
Sure.
We have the step down in the S4i, and so the only difference there is losing 2 woofers.
Okay.
And so that also changes our directivity control, goes up in frequency a little bit. I mean, little known is that the beamforming patent pending technology, we control vertical directivity all the way down to 300 hertz.
Gotcha.
What does that mean? It just means flatter response at the listening position. And home theater designers are always struggling to get what's the best seat coverage, and I want as little deviation seat to seat as possible, so everyone enjoys the sweet spot, so to speak.
Yeah, instead of just that
Instead
primary
of the 2 people in the
position.
center or 2 people in the second row center, you know, more people get that amazing effect of having things spatially where they're supposed to be, especially with immersive audio standards and how film theaters are now evolving.
Sure.
More channels for more immersion is just it's really critical to know all the data for them as well too.
Yeah.
Something that we also stress is that we share all of our data.
Yeah.
Very few in the industry do that. One reason is they usually don't look very good on a graph.
Right.
And a lot of the data can be to you know, backup representatives or manufacturers, is that a lot of the data can be misinterpreted of what it actually means. So they're usually afraid to share that data from there too. But you know, off-axis power response, all the things that make a loudspeaker sound great are in these. And then the surrounds, the S4i, that could be a small LCR up front, or it could be just using the big boys and, you know, putting surrounds around there.
Nice. And all 3 of these are going to be available about the same time?
Yep,
or?
they're going to be here in late October.
Okay.
Yep.
So super soon.
So they're super soon. We're super excited. A lot of people already design them for them because, you know, home theaters take a lot of time. You got to get orders going, the design going, and how to use them.
Sure.
Also, the new R series.
Yeah.
So on the flip side over here, we have the R series. Same great metrics again, same as the R series, same responses, same materials. So basically you get a little degradation in just output.
Right.
And maximum output per THD, but all the same frequency responses. So you're really not, you know, taking a tremendous sacrifice in your performance by doing so. And if you want a little lower maximum output, a little smaller room essentially. And we really believe in scaling. So as you have an Inwall speaker, you don't need low frequency performance. So we step that over to our subs. And the subs, you know, have been tested in a lot of places. We have a lot of great reviews. Really low distortion and dynamic response is what we really stress, and it blends in with these speakers are really fast, transient, and dynamic. We hear that all the time in the industry.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cliche, but you know, we've got a ton of reviews to prove it. Technically 5 now ISA awards.
Okay. Wow.
So ISA created a whole new speaker category for us. So it's a big European award. It's spreading around to the United States and being more popular here. But it's really a very elevated award because it's industry peers, magazines, everything that are voting on this. They actually have an hour-and-a-half interview with you about what's great about the products and why is this different than something else. And so to win that and had a whole new category made for us that has new speaker series. So everything S series got an ISO award.
Gotcha.
And also the D212s Sub.
Yeah.
So a lot of great excitement there, and you know, the great hard work is coming through and proving out.
So your subwoofers was, I mean, I loved our experience up there. I love the monitor speakers. They are not bookshelf speakers. Those are towers,
they're pretty
like a
big.
mini tower.
Yeah, they're mini tower.
But your subwoofers are absolutely phenomenal. We were in a massive size room. You have probably 20 or 30 foot ceilings.
24-foot ceilings, and it was, I think it's a 100-foot long building.
Huge
and it's
room.
open to that whole building.
Yeah.
And you heard the 210s.
Yes.
So 2 10-inch subwoofers.
Yeah, so we're talking not even the big bad boys that have the 15s, push-pull configuration, but holy cow, absolutely impressive. Super, super tactile bass, even in a massive space. But then on top of that, we just got clear, clean bass. Nothing was muddy, didn't bottom out. I mean, it just slammed.
We really stress low THD. We don't allow you to even create high THD. So our limiters are dynamic, and they actually adjust with power supply. So this is an extreme contradiction, but in Japan they have 100 volts input.
Gotcha.
So if you set your limits for 3,000 watts of output, and they only get 2,000 watts, the rails of this power supply run out of gas and distortion occurs. So we actually adjust our power supply rails to our dynamic filters, so they prevent that distortion from occurring. So the more logical case is 125 volts, maybe somebody else gets 115. It varies throughout the day. You'd be very surprised how much our power levels change. And distortion will rise because of that, because of less output and things like that. We actually dynamically adjust all of our filtering to make sure 5% distortion is 5% distortion. It doesn't go above that. At low frequencies, let it go a little more. A lot of people want a little more output, a little more distortion is actually audibly, okay, acceptable. So we let that go. But the push-pull technology, there is something really great about that. Transient response, the dynamics, all the clipple design that we put into them, they're really tweaked to the nth degree, so that we can also maximize that on the power side, to make sure that when you have an amazing loudspeaker, that the bass doesn't sound lagging, boomy, and just out of touch with the speakers. The subs should disappear. And you hear them, but you can't tell where they're coming from. And that's a key goal, and we really strive towards that. Powerful app for all the tuning. In home theater, there's massive amounts of tuning, as we all know from our experiences in there. And so multiple subs averages out the room modes. There's still a lot of tweaking. So there's 30 PEQs, 3 different settings. So if you have a 2-channel listening setup and you use it for home theater, you can change your PEQ settings for how you like, your gain levels, all that kind of stuff. You can group 8 subs together, and a master controls the level of all of them. You got one, movie that you like a little more bass on, just turn up the volume a little bit. And so there's an infinite amount of power there. ARM core processor, I mean, go on, and that's all about, it's a way overkill on a processor, but that's about low clock cycles, low group delay, so it matches and disappears. That's really a key metric. So those really fast clocking cycles allows us to do all of our DSP with only typically about 4 to 5 milliseconds to delay. So that's really amazing to keep that job easy, to just put the sub in the room and walk away. Essentially, most of our customers have said, I haven't tweaked anything, and I can't tell where the subs are already.
Kind of sounds good out of the box.
Yeah,
that's good.
and that's the hard work to make that more achievable, that we put into that thought process and how we design.
Well, Eric, I have been incredibly impressed, not only by the products that you've had, the demos that I've personally experienced. So here, of course, we can't get to hear them, we're just looking at them, but I had a chance to hear these in person in several occasions. Super, not only just beautiful design, but they sound phenomenal, man. Y'all have done an incredible job with your products. And as you can see, Eric knows his stuff because he designs this. He's the engineer. He knows all the ins and outs. And a lot of that, honestly, is over my head. But some of you guys out there, you know about measurements, you know about what he's talking about, and so they can back up what they say with measurements, and I think that's super respectable.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's a lot of, especially when you get in the higher end products, there's a lot of, you know, we have a lot of amazing materials, the cone technology, the beryllium, patent pending waveguide. I mean, that's in beamforming, directivity control, we can talk about that stuff all day long. Yeah. But what it comes down to is that we're ensuring you that we're designing with science. It's a lot of companies start with, they don't have a technology, they just talk about the new shiny material.
Gotcha.
And that's really not what great audio is about. Is about designing it properly to give you a great room response, not just new shiny materials and things that appear that they're going to make the product better. So.
Well, guys, we are here at CEDIA 2022. Eric, thanks so much for allowing us just to come and hear about these amazing products. We've got a lot of incredible products that we're going to be featuring here on the channel, so make sure you're subscribed. If you can make it out next year to CEDIA 2023, this is an incredible event. Eric, appreciate your time.
Thanks for your time.
We'll catch you in the next video.